Coming up, what an excellent day for ascending. Well, howdy folks, and welcome to Minute 104 of The Exorcist Minute, a show where we endeavor to examine, extrapolate, and excavate The Exorcist, minute by terrifying minute. My name is Lester Ryan Clark.
And I'm Keenan Diaz.
And we'll be your holy guides on this journey through what some have called the scariest movie of all time. Okay, so our minute begins with Merrin saying, "We may ask what is relevant, but anything beyond that is dangerous."
And it ends with Chris looking up at Father Merrin right outside Reagan's room.
Yes, folks, this is it. The exorcism is about to begin. I always knew we would get here eventually, and now that we're here, I don't know. I feel like Dimmy. I feel less prepared than I thought I'd be. This is it, folks. This is the part of the movie. Beyond that door is the climax of this film. And yeah, we haven't gone in there yet. And yes, once we do, we still got a battle to fight. But this minute really drove it home for me. We are at the end of the road here, folks. This is it. And every second of this minute is preparing us for that. There is not a frame wasted, nor a line spoken that doesn't give us chills. So let's take a look now. Let's get back to the top of this minute. We have cut from Damien hurrying down those steps of Georgetown U, and now we are back in the house, in the library. Yes, I know it's Daddy's room, but I can't make jokes now. This scene is just too good.
So we got to get our jokes out right now, right? So it's Daddy's room.
Oh, it's Daddy's room.
Daddy's candy.
Yeah, yep. Oh, there's Truey. He's seen some shit, and now he's a photo.
Where are all the books?
Yeah.
For Daddy's room? We got ships everywhere.
Yeah, scotch, patriarchy, wood paneling, right?
Mm-hmm.
But actually, two chuckleheads doing a podcast.
5-star rating. 5-star rating.
5-star rating. Yeah. But no, we see books in this.
I know. I was surprised when we finally saw books.
There are books in this place. But yeah, okay. So in this minute, Keenan, we have walked in on these two priests, these two heroes, and we are struck dumb. And all the listeners said, "Thank God."
So you mean struck dumb like we can't say anything?
Right. Yeah. Okay, but I'm serious. Like, much like the other characters in Merrin's presence, I am reduced to childlike wonder and awe at this scene.
Mm-hmm.
So let's have a look. So yes, we open and they are in the study, in the library. I think in the book, that is where they have set up a makeshift bedroom for Merrin.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, we are shooting into a corner, and the center of the frame is lit up by a lamp on the little corner desk. Keenan, this is an angle, a shade, a color, and a feeling that we have never felt in this room before. Like we almost might not even notice it's Daddy's room. Right?
Agreed. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we might think it's like a new room that we haven't seen. And yeah, that's because of how this shot is laid out, folks. But diegetically, I like to think that's because of Merrin and what he brings to the scene. We see these two men are preparing for battle, right? They're now in the process of gathering the holy items and putting on the holy vestments. We see both men are already wearing their cassocks. Merrin says, "We may ask what is relevant, but anything beyond that is dangerous." Right? Now, folks, this is a continuation from last week. Merrin began this warning by saying, "Especially important is the warning to avoid conversation with the demon." And so now we got the second part of that. We cut, and now we got a medium shot of Damien as he is putting a sweater on over his cassock, immediately reminding us of where they are about to go. We figure Merrin has already put one on, or he just doesn't care.
That's what I get. I think he doesn't care.
Yeah, right. In the back, listening to this, we got two presidents, photos on the wall. We got Truey on the bottom, and above him we got, I think that's Nixon, yeah? And they're looking over Dimmy's shoulder as Merrin speaks. Merrin says, "He's a liar. The demon is a liar." And in a less serious minute, folks, I would have had Nixon, get offended, and he'd quickly realize that Merrin is talking about Captain Howdy. Right? So, I'm terribly sorry.
Oh.
He's a crook. The demon is a crook.
You won't have the demon to kick around anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I always love a Nixon impression, so I wasn't going to stop you, but that is not Nixon. It's LBJ. Sorry.
Ow.
But I don't do a very good LBJ impression, so...
Oh, yeah. Oh, I thought you were saying that my impression sounded more like LBJ.
No. The picture is... No, your picture is great. No, your impression's great, yeah.
Okay.
The picture is LBJ.
Well. Why couldn't it be Nixon?
Oh, come back, Richard Nixon. We need you so.
Let our cries come unto thee.
Richard Milhouse Nixon.
Wait, really?
That's his real... Oh, yeah, that's his real middle
Oh, my God.
Yes,
wow. Okay. Now, this is a heavy scene. We got
my
seduced.
mom says I'm not a crook.
But okay, guys, I want to stay on this line. The demon is a liar, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's so obvious. Of course, demons
Right.
are synonymous with lies, right? The father of lies and all that. But just the way that Merrin is delivering it with this like condemnation in his voice, with this weight and this gravity, and also a little bit of fear.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you feel like this is the first time hearing that concept. He says it, and it feels like this is like new information to us.
Well, I
right?
think it's new information to us. Yeah, again, like Damien has heard this before.
Yeah.
But we don't tell the audience that, because so for Damien, as we're like seeing this through his eyes and ears, right, it feels new to us, but for him it's like, oh yeah, now this is real, right? It's one thing to read like the demon is a liar, don't have a conversation with it, and it's another thing when you are going up to see it for perhaps the last time and try to chase it out of there, right? It's a whole other thing. Like Lester, when the oxygen mask comes down in the airplane, you're supposed to put on your own mask before you help those who need help around you, right?
Of course.
I'm sure it's all a very completely different thing when the oxygen mask come down. You're like, oh God, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Right? And I think they have to keep saying that, because I think your first instinct as a parent would be to put on your child's oxygen mask first, right? Yeah. Which is going to jeopardize both of you.
All right. The reason it's constantly being hammered home that the demon is a liar,
right?
is because he's been tricking us up to this point.
Right.
He's really good at it. Yeah.
That's interesting. Like the Silence of the Lambs is obviously a lot later than this, right? The movie's 91 and the book is a couple years before that, right?
Yeah.
But in that one, we which is so similar to this relationship here, where we're going to question the demon, in the middle of this movie, right? In that one, I don't know. We don't get that repeated either. Like, don't trust him. Don't trust Hannibal Lecter, because their whole point is that Clarice is trying to go in there and get information from him. So
right.
So we don't have this warning about like the demon, or Hannibal Lecter being a liar.
But don't we have like we have a sort of like a prepping of Clarice Starling before she meets him, where it's like,
big time. Don't hand him anything with metal, right? Don't approach the glass, right?
Yeah. So we get the idea that like he's dangerous and he's wily, and he can, like even with like a little paperclip or something like that, he can like, flay you alive or something.
Right. Spoilers, but yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a Hannibal Lecter is MacGyver, but but scary.
He's evil MacGyver.
Yeah, what he can do with the paperclip or a staple. Yeah.
Yeah. And what Captain Howdy can do apparently with a turn of phrase.
Well, even though his turn of phrase is just essentially "your mom," and he goes, "No, my mom, no."
Wait, who sucks cocks in hell? No.
No.
Of all the people that I would feel bad about sucking cocks in hell, that's like the worst one. How did you know, Captain Howdy?
In hell, they suck Chuck Norris's cock.
Yes. All of hell. The place, hell. is just a sleeve.
All right. Anyways, demon's a liar. Demon's a liar. Very serious.
Yeah.
Very serious.
But yeah, so now we cut and we have a medium shot of Merrin. We are looking up at him as he continues to prepare, right? He says, he will lie to confuse us, but he will also mix lies with the truth to attack us. And so while he's doing this, he's got all this little business, right?
Mm-hmm.
First thing he does, he puts on his glasses, and after this, he reaches down and he picks up his coat and he begins to put it on. And I really love how his speech is like broken up as he puts on his armor.
Mm-hmm.
That is a hard thing to do, harder than people think, to be saying lines while doing some other business for the camera or on the stage, right? I think we talked about this in previous minutes, but like you're trying to make it look like this is the first time that you have said these words and done this little bit of business. And if you're like searching for something or fiddling with something and you take too long or like you finish too early, like that's always my big fear is that I will like find the black button in the jumble of buttons, or like I'll have a scene where I'm like flustered and I'm running late and I'm supposed to be struggling with like to button my shirt, but for some reason, like never happens in real life, but like the shirt is just like magically buttoned in seconds without any trouble.
I did go on stage once with my actual glasses instead of my character didn't have glasses. And that embarrassed the hell out of me, but nobody notices.
Yeah.
I was back there watching the show on the monitor and just enjoying, and they're like, oh god, I'm in this show. I had to run out there and but yeah, Merrin has these glasses that have the wire ear rim things where he has to bend his the glasses around his ear.
Yeah.
I've never had those. I wonder if the movies make it look comfortable, but I guess the reason they don't have those anymore is because that's very not comfortable. It's
you know what though? Like I'm in the studio right now, and every time I look down, these damn new glasses, which help me to see, and I'm like praise the Lord for that. But like every time I look down, they slip off my nose, and I could really use some of Merrin's little like grabby earpieces.
Yeah, the ones that give your ears a little hug.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And maybe this is like another like kind of like old timey thing, in Merrin's costume. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is old timey, but I wonder why they fell out of favor, because they must just cut the shit out of your ears.
Probably, yeah.
Right.
We're joking about them being comfortable. They're probably not.
Right. I don't know, because I've only ever had plasticky ones, but yeah.
Any more stuff that you put on your face, it's just like. Yeah.
Yeah, just strap the world onto your face so you could live. I mean, If we lived in the way the jungle, like the alpha male people on the internet say that we should, I can't see 3 feet in front of me. So
no.
After the age of 15, I would have just been eaten by a panther.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're also
looking. And you know what, Keenan? So would all those alpha males out there.
Sure, of course. If they wear contact lenses, they would die out in the wild.
Others like, oh, we gotta go out and do this. Yeah.
Without a jacket.
Yeah, push-ups aren't gonna get you food. I don't care how many you can do. What is this? You're negging the rabbit. Finding little insecurities about it, and eventually you'll be able to like skin it and.
The rabbit goes up to the little snare you've got attached to the bush that you've changed over, and it spots you, and you just go ill, and it's like ill. No, I'm not ill. Okay, I'm going to the snare. I'm going to make you eat me.
Right. And then, if the rabbit like sees the snare and he's a little bit too smart for it, right? Then, he hops away and you just hear, slut. Because that's we're making a joke about the alpha males, folks.
Yes. We would never say that. No. But yeah, you can't find protein powder in a cave.
No.
I don't know where you'd find it.
Yeah.
At the banks of the river, you're gonna find some.
I'd be all done. I'd
some
be
creatine. Yeah.
I have to eat 3 to 6 meals a day. I have to 1 gram of protein per every pound of body weight. That'll eventually become easy.
1 gram. Yeah, if you could find the protein powder source.
Well, no, I mean, as I waste away is what I'm saying.
Right. 1 gram of protein for every pound of body weight, and it just
Yes.
works that way. But that's a metric and a whatever.
No. This is bro science. This is absolutely. There's nothing. No, this is. I'm not saying you should do this. But it is one of those things that, like, as I was kind of like discovering the world of fitness, it was one of those things that was said to me.
No, that's just. I'm sure it works. I'm not going to doubt it, but that's interesting. Yeah. Imperial and metric, but that's bro science for you, baby.
Yep. Sometimes it helps. Sometimes, well, more often than not, it doesn't.
But sometimes it helps, but alpha males don't need help.
Yeah.
They don't ask for help. So getting back to Father Merrin, I think one of the reasons that this room looks so different and is because, not only are we shooting into a corner we haven't seen before, like we were doing in the living room, we got to see that big window overlooking the town. Here we're looking up at Merrin, so we see a lot of the ceiling, which I don't think we've seen in Daddy's room as much.
No,
right?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah, we're usually making them look small, and even again, like when Chris takes over Daddy's room, becomes Daddy temporarily. Like, I don't think we're quite looking like this, like up and empowering her by looking at her on the y-axis and seeing all this ceiling.
Yeah. The power she gets is like we put her behind that desk, I think.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's Daddy's desk now.
Yeah. But yeah, so Merrin is still speaking, but we have cut to upstairs, speaking of Chris, in Chris's room, as Merrin says, the attack is psychological, Damien, and powerful. Again, we're shooting into a corner in Chris's room, and Chris is sitting in the demon throne from way back in the hypnotism scene. If you haven't, listen to that episode, folks. That's the one where Reagan is being hypnotized, and they are all in that room, and Reagan / Captain Howdy is sitting in that exact chair. And because Reagan is smaller, and also just like the way that Captain Howdy has her sitting, it looks almost like she's sitting on a throne. And you got Mom and the hypnotist and Dr. Klein, and they're all like attending to her. Like we said, it looks like the hall of the Demon King, right? And they were like all her subjects.
Right.
But yeah, so now Chris is in that chair. It doesn't look so big and throne-like with her in it.
Right.
Also from previous minutes, she has brought out that needlepoint that she was working on in Dr. Klein's waiting room. Right? Remember on that episode, like we speculated that it might be like a mother-daughter project with Reagan having drawn the giraffe, and now Mom is filling it in with the needlepoint. And yes, if you go back and look at it, I think it's minute 33. It actually does look like she is further along now in this minute, in minute 104. But right now, just at this moment, she is not working on it. She is sitting there, and now, without the presence of those 2 priests, when she is alone, she looks old. Even older than before. This is the oldest we have seen her in the movie. I don't know if it's the lighting or what, but she looks old and sad. She is possibly contemplating death again. Remember in the book, she was obsessed with the idea of death and the void and what it means to stop existing. But back then, that was in the beginning of the book, she was thinking about it in terms of herself. In the book, it also tells us that before Reagan, she had lost a child, and she might be sitting here now facing the possibility that she might lose this one. If that's the case, I do not know why she is doing that needlepoint. That seems like the absolute worst thing that she could be doing right now. But I don't know, Keenan, like is it too early to think that she might be thinking about death, might be thinking, that this might not work? Because like when she opened the door, she looked so hopeful, and nothing has happened yet to like shake her hope yet.
But now there's nothing left for her to do. Right. Except
Yeah.
to, think positive thoughts. She doesn't pray. So,
Right.
whatever that
Right.
means to her. And yeah, she takes out her needlepoint and she has a little similar to that shot where we had
Mm.
of Sharon alone at her little workstation, right? And then
Right.
she's like, she has everything there to do work, but she can't do it. And
Right.
Chris has the needle in her hand in one hand, and and she has the guide in the other hand underneath
Mm-hmm.
the little fabric, and she just can't do
Yeah.
any of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
is it too early to think she might be thinking about death? I mean, I'm not a parent, you're not a parent.
Mm.
As I don't really understand how parents aren't just paralyzed with fear 24 hours a day about something terrible happening to their
I feel the
children.
exact same way.
Yeah.
I just and especially now, oh man, getting older and just kind of noticing stuff on the news, right? And of
Mhm.
course, always just noticing the bad stuff. I'm, just recently, a kidnapping case popped
Mhm.
up on my For You page on the TikTok, and it just you cut to the family and they are destroyed. They are
Mhm.
beside themselves with grief, and I'm just how, yeah, like any parent, if parents, let us know. Every time your kid goes to school,
Mhm.
are you just uh, uh, is this it? Like I can't. I say I want kids one day, but I
Mhm.
just that's such a big fear.
Right.
How are you not always thinking about it? So I guess, yeah, Keenan, you're right. She's probably thinking about it all the time.
Yeah. Especially if we use the backstory from the book, right? And she's lost a
Right.
child again. Before she had Reagan, I don't know how you separate those things. And
No.
that is the bravery of having kids. Again, I'm not going to have kids, and
Mm.
yeah, I just can't quite understand it. But yeah, you have to let them go every single day to school and send them to college and all this, terrible stuff. And
Yeah.
almost always they're going to be okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Almost always, but you're just terrified all the time. So now,
Right.
yeah, they're going to go and do. Your kid's going to go into an operation. That's
That's
heightened that, right? And
right.
now
That's what this is. Yeah. Yeah.
now this is that, but to the extreme, right?
Right.
Metaphorically, right? Yeah,
Right.
your daughter's going to go upstairs. They're going to have an exorcism, and it could take an hour or it could take months.
Yeah.
I don't know if they prepped her on that. That sometimes exorcism takes months, but
In the book, there is a little exchange between her and Karis,
mhm.
and I'm trying to remember now. I don't think
Mhm.
he lets that much out.
Right. We've been told that by Father Michael, or
Yeah.
Father Tom to Father
Yeah.
Michael, saying that,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the last time that Merrin did an exorcism, it took months and almost killed him. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, this could be done in an hour. It could be done in months.
Mm-hmm.
Reagan might not make it. Who
Right.
knows? Or Reagan might kill the priest. I'm sure that's going through her
Yeah.
heads as well, because she
Mm-hmm.
sees, Reagan as having killed Burke. Right.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And this is yeah, just to kind of piggyback
Hmm.
off the operation um, comparison. It's it's an operation where there's really only two things that could happen,
Hmm.
right? If the operation doesn't we tried to remove the mole, but it didn't
Hmm.
work,
Right.
right? You can go home now.
Right.
That's not going to happen. They remove the mole,
Mhm.
or the patient dies.
We tried to remove the mole and it didn't work, and she killed one of the scrub nurses.
Yes.
Right? So that's going on here, right?
Hmm. And then jumped on the other one's back, and they both jumped out the window.
Right.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah. Starring Leslie Nielsen.
Right.
Yeah.
That's Carrot Top.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, surfing the priest down the stairs.
Yeah. But yeah, so we cut from this scene, and we are now in the upstairs hall, low to the ground, just outside Reagan's room. We are moving closer and closer to that door as Merrin continues speaking. He's been speaking this whole time, and he says, "So don't listen. Remember that. Do not listen." Right? And again, we were talking before about the the benefits of having like all of these rules, all of these like be careful of this and that, like
watch out
early
for
on.
Sharon.
Watch out for Sharon, of course, right?
Right.
They didn't listen to that. But no, like having all these like spooky warnings at the top of the movie or at the at near the end, and I really like that this is it that we put that in right here, right? We're inching closer to the door, and he's saying, "Do not listen." It's like it's about to go down, and that's one thing. It's like okay, hold on to that. Don't listen to whatever the demon says, right? But yeah, so, and also I really like that we are getting shots of this house that we have come to know so well. We're seeing rooms and areas that we've been in multiple times, but we're seeing them with like new angles and new lighting to signify a new final act. And also like, probably just to kind of like discombobulate us. It's like, wait, where are we? Oh, this is the library. Oh,
to
this is
alienate us. Yeah.
Yes. Right. It's like, because how do they scare you with a haunted house that you've been living in for a while? Right. So it has to be new angles, new lighting, and all that stuff. Right.
Yeah. There is this piece of advice about screenwriting that I think is really useful. I don't use it as much as I probably should, but the idea that if you're writing a script, that your character should never go to the same location twice. And the idea of that, right? Like, how do we do that? The idea of that is that it's constantly moving forward, right? We're not like lounging around. That the way to visually help out the idea of the character growing is that they're not going to go back to. And you see this like in student films, the kind that we used to make, right? There are student films that I see with my students, right? Like, okay, here's a scene, it's dramatic, and then we go back to the house and play video games and talk about that scene, and then that's sort of the pattern over and over again. And so it's sort of visually and then also dramatically doesn't have that forward momentum. Right. So I love what you're saying here too, because I was noticing a little bit of that as well. Like we've been in this house so much, we got familiar with this house, but we've held back on, doing a 360 of every room to show you that. Like we've been very specific in our coverage so that when we get new coverage here as things progress, it doesn't feel like we're going to the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
The Mary Jo couch, right? Like we've seen the Mary Jo couch, but we see it completely differently when Father Merrin is in it.
Yes. And so I love that. Yeah. And that perfectly solves the problem, right? Because if we're to adhere to that, like never go to the same place twice, like how do we do that? Like we're stuck in this house. We like show them different parts of the rooms that we've already been in. We light it a little bit differently. And now it feels like we're in a different place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow. But yeah, so like all of these new angles, these new shots, right? And this little section right here where we are like zooming in on the door from this angle made me think of a line in the book. Blatty says, "There was a strangeness in the house, like settling stillness, weighted dust." And I went back and I checked to see if he was talking about like this moment right here, like the calm before the storm.
Right.
But no, the line comes way earlier. But still, in the movie, it feels like here we have that calm before the storm. Like the house itself is holding its breath.
Do you know what else is going on in this shot where we're moving towards the door? I don't know if we have a lot of these that are shots of the house that are removed entirely from somebody's point of view, right? Isn't it usually like we're with Chris as she walks to the house, or with Damon as he walks to the house? So that's how we explore the geography. But this is like this entirely objective. In the a zoom on its own is usually more objective than subjective, and this one there is no character that we are the subject of exploring this. So this really does feel like it's from what I hate to say things like this, but it's from the point of view of the house.
Yeah. Oh, because you hate when people say that the house is a character.
Don't say that, listener. The house is not a character. The house is a setting. Characters are characters.
The snozberries taste like snozberries.
No, they don't. They taste like wallpaper.
I think I made that joke already. But yeah. But no, like yeah, because I'm trying to think back, Keenan. No, you're absolutely right, because like we have had like tricky, spooky moments when the camera kind of like, moves in between some furniture or something like that. And we're like, it's not the character's point of view. It's more like we're spying on the character.
Absolutely. Right.
So it's either we're looking at something with the character or we're sneakily looking at the character.
Yeah.
But this one, there's nobody.
There's nobody here.
There's nobody here. It's moving in on that door, like from a really, really low point on the rug, right? It's not like, Chris has had a cat this whole time or something like that, right?
Which I would appreciate, but yes.
Yeah, right, yeah. But yeah, so no, that's a really good point. What would why would we be doing that right now?
To remove ourselves from a character's point of view.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess a little bit like what you're saying. It's like the house is breathing, the situation is breathing, like the situation is terrifying. Even removed from what the people are like, and yeah, because other than that, there's not going to be a lot of time for breather later on. We're going to
see a lot of breath, but we won't be able to breathe.
We're going to have a lot of conversation, but it's just rising action most of the time.
Right.
Yeah. This is our last chance to run out of the theater screaming and go see the paramedic who's been stationed in the lobby of the theater.
Right. I thought it was like the paramedic was a movie or something.
No.
Go see, I'm gonna go see the paramedic.
Yeah, calm down a little bit.
It's right next to The Exorcist.
There was a time in grad school where I was drinking so much coffee, like so much, right? Because it's grad school and you're just constantly doing things, and then my heart would be racing all the time. So I went to the doctor, and they were like, "It's just the coffee." I'm like, "No, it's not. Don't say that. You don't know." Check and so I made them do scans and stuff. Like, there's nothing wrong with you. You just have too much coffee, and I wouldn't believe them. But yeah, I had a real like heart palpitation problem that I did to myself.
Yeah,
and I went to see Denis Villeneuve's Sicario. Have you seen that?
No.
Terrifying. It's an action movie, but it's so incredibly intense, and like it's DEA agents and they're going through this house, and it's like rigged and there are people around every corner. And I was sitting down in the theater, and I'm like 20 minutes in, I'm like, I need to leave. I need to get out of here and go and watch SpongeBob Sponge Out of Water next door. but yeah, so like anyways, the idea of like needing breathers in movies and these things, like for me then it was like literal, like I need to get out. But yeah, here this will be our last time when we get to rest our hearts potentially, maybe.
This is it. Yeah. And like even as we're resting, like the minute opened with them like getting ready for battle. Right? Yeah. But yeah, so we cut from here and we are back in the study. Merrin has finished speaking, and now Damien begins with something he feels he has to say. He says, "I think it might be helpful if I gave you some background on the different personalities Reagan has manifested. So far, I'd say there seem to be 3. Now, Keenan, we talked about this in the last minute when Dimmy asked if Merrin would like to hear the background of the case first. And we both loved Merrin's response to that, simply why. And then we also, we kind of decided that like what Dimmy was doing in that minute was like he thought he still had to dance for Merrin.
Right.
He had to kind of like prove himself. Is it more of the same here? Because like it's almost seeming like he uses the word manifest. He says Reagan has manifested 3 personalities so far. That wording makes it sound like he himself still doesn't believe, and he is like talking to Father Merrin as if he were Dr. Merrin, like a fellow doctor. Like manifest implies that Reagan is sick and that she's manifesting symptoms, or that she is lying. Because like otherwise he would have said there appear to be 3 demons in her, which I have identified so far.
You're right. Absolutely. That's what he would say if he really believed in it. I hadn't thought about that.
And he would still be wrong, but
right.
like he would be less wrong. Or is this like the previous minute, like more dancing, more PowerPoint? Like I'm just giving you the facts and I'm going to put it on you to decide whether it's a demon or a sick girl. Because we're going to cut in a second, and he continues a little before getting cut off by Merrin, and he starts to say she's convinced that And then, that's when he gets cut off.
That's really interesting. I hadn't thought about that, Lester, to be honest.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is exactly what he would say. He would say there are 3 demons in her, and here's what I know about the first demon. Here's what I know about the second demon, etc.
Right.
But he's not saying that. He's still talking about the girl doing this, where Merrin knows, oh no, the girl isn't doing any of this.
Yeah, he's here.
Right.
Merrin is here. They're putting on their priest stuff. I'm just like, and it is this way in the book as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like he is still getting bombarded by doubts even as the exorcism is going on. I think I mentioned that. Right. And I guess that's Dimmy's big struggle. That's his big arc. But yeah, like it just, after everything we've been talking about, it almost seems like backsliding.
That's interesting. Yeah, he probably doesn't even realize he's doing that, right?
So this is just Dr. Dimmy being Dr. Dimmy.
Just jumping into that mode, right?
Yeah.
Because he's going to have to figure out it's through faith, and that can't happen yet. So, right. So he's not equipped yet to deal with it with faith, which is, that is the solution to the mystery, as it were.
Yeah. But yeah, so again, folks, we got Dimmy bringing what he thinks is good stuff to the table, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Father Merrin, you'll be proud of me. I've done my homework. Here's all the info I've gathered. Listen to this.
Right.
And we can see in the next shot, like we've cut, and we are now behind Dimmy over his shoulder, and we can see in Merrin's face, he knows what Dimmy is hinting at, and he cuts it off real quick with, there is only one.
It's really interesting, the cutting off, right? Because in the previous instance, he lets Damien finish his thought, and then he even gives him a little tiny time to keep going before he says, why should I do this? Right. But this one's like, no, we have to stop thinking about that for your own good. Like, we have to cut you off.
Like that is a dangerous thought path that you are going down.
Right, because it could be like, okay, this Beetlejuice Pazuzu that's coming out, right? That's third of the main one. Oh, that might, that's the bad one. And then if it switches to the other one, we could trick ourselves into thinking, oh, we're winning, or that means something at all, or it's weakening, or this is one we could reason with, and none of that is true.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. So you're like the reason he cut him off was like in response to there being like many demons. Right. He's like, no.
No, that's a dangerous idea that there's many demons.
But even more dangerous, and I think like this is what Merrin is seeing on Dimmy's face and hearing in his words is that this isn't real.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, that's very good.
Because I think he's like he cuts him off rather like abruptly, and I think it's like it's almost like he's saying stop it.
Right.
Like it's too late for that. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And yeah, folks, I think this is important, the context behind these words, because unconsciously, I think I misremembered the full meaning of this line, even as recently as when we were talking here on the show about Howdy speaking backwards and tricking Karras into thinking there was more than one demon in Reagan. Like, I would remember this moment coming up as the big reveal of how clever Howdy was that he got Karras to think it was multiple demons, and how chilling when we find out together with Karras that there actually is only one. That's what I thought this was, but it seems to me right now in this scene that Karras hasn't even gotten that far yet. He is still not recognizing this for what it is, and so Merrin's "there is only one" is doing double duty. For Karras, the context is there is only one because it's a demon. And for us, who already know that demonic stuff is going on, it reveals to us how strong this demon is if there is only one demon doing all of this. What do you think, Keenan?
I'm really interested in this reaction shot from Jason Miller because they leave it ambiguous, right? They don't have him nodding or anything. So like does he understand the full implications of what Merrin is saying? Like all the things that you're telling us here. Because it's like he's, everyone's becoming a child in the presence of Merrin. I think you're completely correct about that. And Damien feels like that. He looks so small in the frame and very young and very childlike. And they make his cheeks look fatter and chubbier by lighting him from below and all this stuff. But like he's been reprimanded by his dad, and he feels like it feels like he's stung by that part of it more than the theology of it, or even like the stuff that's going to happen in their operation. So I'm just fascinated by that. And he doesn't like nod and go, okay, you're right, whatever, or he doesn't like have a oh, what does that mean sort of a look. He just seems stung
Right.
by making a mistake in front of the presence of Merrin.
Yeah. I want to talk more about that look in just a second. When we cut to his face. But I also want to just say one more thing about this line, right? There is only one, which I think is important. Throughout the life of this story, from book to movies to parodies to sequels to prequels to requels, and yes, even on this show, the question of the devil versus a devil has come up, right? The book says the devil, and then it switches to a devil. The movie says the devil, and then it doesn't switch back. And pop culture, runs with that, and that's why like all the skits and sketches, feature the devil. And even today, people are like, oh yeah, The Exorcist, that's the one where the little girl is possessed by the devil. And today, more and more people are saying Pazuzu.
Right.
And listeners remember from previous episodes, I personally don't think it's the devil or Pazuzu. I want it to be Legion for thematic reasons. But guys, okay, all of that aside, whoever you think it is, whoever I think it is, whoever Friedkin thinks it is, whoever Blatty thinks it is, all I know is that when Merrin says this line, there is only one, it sounds like he is talking about the devil. Like I remember watching this as a child and immediately understanding, oh, he's talking about the devil. And this got me thinking very soon they're going to be doing the exorcism. And Merrin is reading or he's reciting from the Roman ritual. And to me, it sounds like the Roman ritual is addressing the devil, right? Ancient serpent, betrayer of nations, begetter of death, prince of murderers, enemy of the human race. Like these are not titles for Pazuzu or Legion or any lowly demon. Like the ritual at least is addressing Satan specifically. And I've seen this in other exorcism stories as well, like even the non-Catholic ones where, like it's another devil and part of it is getting the demon to tell you its name and like, but even there, the exorcism itself is still at least partially directed at Satan. And so, like, bringing it back to this minute, like, whoever this demon is, when Merrin says there is only one, I always read it as him talking about the devil. What do you think?
You're right. The ritual talks a lot about Satan. So even as, when Father David Mowry came onto our show and was talking about the belief in unclean spirits and that there are unclean spirits out there, but that it's, under the auspices of everything that is evil and everything that is Satan, right? So the ritual has to address it towards the devil.
Right.
I think that's going to, again, complicate things when we start talking about Merrin and his backstory, which we will talk about a little bit in this movie, but in the prequels, that's what the whole thing is that they've seen each other before, etc.
Right.
So I don't know if that means the devil. I mean, in those, but again, you're complicating the canon when you're adding the prequels and such.
Yeah, I can still fit both of those things in my head. That Merrin knows that this demon is not the devil. He remembers this demon from the previous battle they had.
Right.
But when Dimmy is foolishly going on about, it's like, oh, there's multiple blah blah blah. Even then, even knowing that it's not the devil, it's Captain Howdy. When Merrin says there is only one, he's not talking about the demon upstairs. He's talking about like he's say like there's like almost like he's saying there is only one cause of all this.
Right.
Right. Like he's like it really is like it doesn't even matter. What the demon is called, he comes from the devil.
Exactly. I think based on what I've been learning about this and what Father David was telling us, that's how that jives with that, right? It doesn't matter what it actually is or what it calls itself, because all of the evil comes from the one place.
Yeah. But yeah, folks, like what a line, right? Like it's another famous line from this story, right? And both the delivery as well as the words like stop Dimmy in his tracks. They stop all of us in our tracks, right? Like multiple times now, Merrin has gently but firmly reminded us of what this really is, right? Like he's like, I should like to see your daughter now. Yes, now. Do you want to hear the background of the case first? Why? And now this, right? There is only one, right? It's another gentle reminder that the title of the movie is not The Sick Girl. or The Doctor, right? The title is The Exorcist. This is an exorcism, right? And even this late in the movie, Merrin is reminding everybody of this.
Again, I would imagine that the book was originally supposed to be called Legion. Because that's you don't think so?
No, I never thought of that.
I mean,
that's the sequel,
first,
right?
Right. That's the first story. That's the first thing we read about is Legion.
Yeah.
In the little quotes at the beginning, and then it's about the Legion story, etc.
Right.
And then he goes and he names the sequel Legion. So
right.
But anyway. So if I'm correct about that, that's what I would imagine was going on. They change it to The Exorcist for all these reasons that make that work for this movie and this story.
Yeah. Well, I'll take that. That goes more with my argument, so I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Right, but he doesn't name it Legion. He names it The Exorcist for all the reasons you're saying. It's about Merrin, and then it will be about Damien at the end. That title.
It's about the fight, and it's about like as charming as this demon is, he is not like he is not deserving of the spotlight.
Right. No hero of mine.
Nope.
I tell you what.
Yeah, he's not even like Milton's Lucifer. He's
right.
Yeah. Okay, so we cut from Merrin. Now we are over his shoulder looking at Dimmy. This is what you were talking about, Keenan. Looking at how Merrin's line lands on him. So yeah, like tell me again, like what do you see on this face? Like you said, he like a child who has been reprimanded by his father.
Yeah, it seems like he's not as hurt by the idea that he's been wrong in the theology. He looks hurt, like he's embarrassed that he made a mistake in front of the man, the father, the exorcist.
Yes, yeah. For me, it could go either way. Like my first thought was actually incredulity. Like he's seeing Merrin for the first time, and he's thinking Merrin is taking this a little too seriously. Like he's incredulous that Merrin is treating this like anything more than like suggestive shock treatment.
Right.
Right? Or I can also see in those eyes, and this is what I hope is going on. Dimmy is finally realizing that this isn't a game, right? He's having a moment of like, oh wow, I'm really in this. Like this is actually happening. I'm fighting a demon, right? The weight and the severity has finally come home to him from those words. There is only one. I see both of those things in his eyes. I want it to be the latter, but like you have opened up this third option of like it could be just neither of those. It just could be that he feels abashed that Merrin bashed him.
It is this ambiguous thing, and the script ends with Merrin's line, but then a good director sees that it's not just about the lines, it's about how you respond to the lines. And we don't give Damien another line that's not in the script to answer the ambiguity of what he's feeling in that moment.
Right.
It's just shocking. Like he's shocked, and so then we're shocked too, and that's what we need.
Right. And it's just like, just this pause. It's like nobody talking. It's just like we're looking at Karras and looking at his reaction. And it's like so ambiguous that we can kind of like fill in the gaps.
Right.
But I love this. Like we cut back on Merrin, and whatever Dimmy is thinking right now, like however this has landed for him, Merrin is done explaining, right? Like he kisses his stole and he doesn't even look up at Dimmy again. Like it feels like he's saying, it's like, I got work to do. You called me here, either keep up or, go home. Right. I'm going to go do an exorcism.
Right.
And we cut back to Dimmy, and it looks like he's taken the hint, right? Like he hurriedly puts on his surplice, right? But he can't resist another look at Merrin. Like Merrin's done with him.
Right.
Like he said what he said, and he's moving on. But Dimmy is still shook. And like once Merrin has turned away, he can't help but like steal another look at him, right? Like just like Chris, like once Merrin's eyes are down, like, and he's sipping the coffee, like Chris looks at him, and as that was in this minute, and now like Dimmy's doing the same thing, like he wants to like get a look at Merrin.
Yeah, they want Daddy's approval.
No, it's exactly that. Like we keep on punning on fathers and the theme of fathers in this thing, folks, but like Merrin really is this person that, having just met him, both our main characters, Chris and Karras, look to him like a father. Yeah. So we cut, and we are once again ascending. through the bars of the railing, we see Merrin walking slowly, deliberately up the stairs to the second floor, to Reagan's room, to, although he doesn't know it, his destiny. I know Dimmy comes back down these steps later. He has a whole conversation with Chris, but Keenan, I don't think Merrin comes back down. I think this is it.
I think you're right, yeah.
Yeah. They have that moment on the steps, but I don't think he ever comes back down to the first floor. Merrin.
Right. I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's on the top of the steps, right?
Oh, right. Yeah. Dimmy comes down to the first floor a couple different ways. But we'll get to that. Sorry. But no, this is it, folks. If we weren't feeling it before, we're feeling it now as Merrin and Karras walk up these steps. We can hear the demon already, and that is where they are going. It is here in the book that Chris thinks to herself how tall they both look, these two priests. And by that, I think Blatty means she's thinking how heroic they look, like the picture of heroic virtue, straight and tall, like knights on their way to fight the dragon and save the princess, which is exactly what they are doing. And Chris has this moment where all she can see, like all she can articulate, even in her mind, is they look so tall. And I really love that detail.
Right. I don't think Damien is actually tall because Father Kinderman makes fun of him, calls him Sal Mineo and John Garfield.
Right. Yes, exactly. Right. And also compared to Merrin,
oh, sure,
like he's got to be like even shorter. Right. But like that's the thing is like them going up to this room, they just look tall.
Right.
Right. Like there's an aura about them. Right? Yeah. But speaking of both of them, Keenan, I don't know how I feel about this cut as they're both going up the stairs. Do you see what I'm talking about?
Oh, yes. There's a very, very prominent jump cut between the two of them. And we haven't used a lot of jump cuts in our movie except in the like dream sequences, right? Where we're looking at one thing and then, bah, there's a howdy, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So this one is I think, very obvious, right? It doesn't look like we're trying to hide it or something. It's not like...
No. Yeah, folks, just to kind of like break it down for you. Like so we're on Merrin and we're following him up, and then it just cuts and we're looking at Karras going up the stairs.
Right.
Like it's really obvious and really jarring, and to me, it seems like a mistake. Like they lost some film.
No, I don't think.
No?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think this is pretty deliberate because it's not a cut. It's not we watch Merrin walk up the stairs. The camera goes with him, and then we cut to Damien at the bottom of the stairs.
Right. Or it's not like so. When I watch this shot, I keep expecting it to like follow Merrin up a little bit, and then the camera would like stop, and Merrin continues going up out of frame, and then there's like half a second where we just hold on the empty staircase, and then Karras comes up into frame.
Right.
Like that's how like I remember this shot going every single time I watch it, and then it's like it's different, right?
Right. Yeah, it is that the camera follows Merrin up, and then it stops at a particular stair, and then Merrin continues up out of frame. And then before he fully goes up out of frame, basically when his eye touches the top of the frame, then we stay at the exact same elevation, and Damien is moving his way up into the frame there. So we don't start back at the bottom of the stairs, which would be a jump cut that we would our minds would accept more easily. This is a purposefully jarring one that kind of recreates like Damien becoming Merrin, or really following in his footsteps, like on this metaphysical level. But it is unlike any other cut that I could recall in the film outside of the dream sequences.
Yeah. If I had to explain this cut and acknowledge that it was on purpose, right? Like how you're explaining, like this could be like Dimmy becoming Merrin. I would say the effect that it creates for me is that time and space are glitching the closer we get to Captain Howdy, right?
Yeah.
Like whom we can hear is now in his full power. So it's almost like he's affecting the film, right? That's a little bit too meta. That's like What Beetlejuice would do. But...
That's what Beetlejuice would do, yeah. Or not. Her name's not Reagan, but that's what Linda Blair would do in Repossessed. Yeah,
in Repossessed, right? Yeah, it's like break. Doesn't she? Yeah, she breaks the film at one point, right?
Or that's Gremlins 2, and I can't remember. But
right.
But yeah, it's almost certainly not a mistake because everything is in the exact same. Every railing is in the same spot. Every line is in the exact same spot, except for the two priests across this cut.
Yeah.
So that's difficult to do. That's an intentional thing.
Yeah. So from here, we cut and we are at the top of that first landing as the two priests continue their ascent.
Enjoy your ascent.
Enjoy your ascent, yes. Have a nice... No. Yeah. What did the priest go into the perfume shop for? For a scent? No. Yeah, Kinderman, he's got a nose for crime. He's on. No, that would be the scent. That doesn't work.
He's not on the scent. He's on a scent.
Yeah. Maybe he's on decent, right? Like I don't know. But yeah. So we follow them up. First Merrin and then Karis, and behind them we can see now that all of the family is gathered up here. We see Chris, Carl, Sharon, and we assume Willie is also up there, and they are all keeping guard or holding vigil just outside Reagan's bedroom. And they are participants in this solemn procession. And as the priests ascend, we see Carl move from his place by the railing. It doesn't look like he's moving out of the way, because he would have gone the other way. There's like another way that he can move out of the way. It looks like he's moving toward Merrin, perhaps to like help him with something. Like this is another unexpectedly like touching shot from me. Like everyone is up there. They may not be able to go into the room, but they are going to be as close as they possibly can to Reagan while this is happening, at least in the beginning. I don't know if they know how long this is supposed to take.
Right.
We know eventually that they leave their posts, not because they don't care, but maybe because they realize that they can better help Karis and Merrin by like getting out of their way. And if they need anything like food or water or rest, the family needs to be able to function for them.
Right. And I don't know if you could see at the bottom of the frame, they've laid down a little line right at the door that says patriarchy.
I leaned in and I bought that shit that you were selling.
Right.
I was like, oh, I didn't notice that.
No Chris's or Sharon's or Carl's allowed.
Yeah.
Patriarchy.
Right. And then just like another little, the door opens just a little bit, and you see one Chris and one Sharon and one Carl. It's like it says no Chris's. We're allowed to have one.
Exactly.
Right. But yeah, so we cut again, and I love this reveal. The shot is almost completely black at first, and then it's like the clouds part, and we see Chris's face looking up, and we realize it was Merrin's body obscuring the camera. It's like Chris was in darkness, and Merrin took the darkness away.
Right.
She follows him with pleading eyes as he exits the frame, but then he comes back, and you can see that this surprises her because we're still on her face. It's so heartbreaking, this look that she's given him, just like pleading with him to save her daughter. But also you can see that she has climbed a little bit out of that pit of despair, and she is closer to hope. These tears look fresh. Her pain looks fresh and sharp, right? She's not numb. She's not defeated. She is very alive and very aware, and the pleading in her eyes is desperate because maybe there is a chance.
And she's back to looking young again, you would say, right? You said she looked older when she's in the demon's throne chair, but yeah, she's back to looking like a child.
Exactly, right? Yeah, like even as recently as in this minute, right? Remember, folks, she was sitting in that chair, and we talked about how like that's the oldest we've ever seen her, but now she's standing here right outside this door. Merrin passes her, takes that darkness away, and she's looking, and like there is hope, right? And that is where our minute ends, on that hopeful note. This is it, folks. We have arrived. The final battle is about to begin. We are standing at the gates of hell, but even here, there is hope. Even here, hope endures. For now, that is all of my notes. Keenan, is there anything else?
No, I think we got it.
Okay, folks, this has been another excellent Exorcist Minute. I've been Lester Ryan Clark. You can reach me on all the socials as Lester Ryan Clark.
And I've been Keenan Diaz. You could find me on Letterboxd and Instagram at Howdy Keenan.
Yeah, we got our listener group, Compelling Conversations. Go check that out and request to join, and we'll let you in here with us. Thank you so much to everyone who has shared the show by word of mouth or on social media, and a big thank you to everyone who has given us a 5-star ratings on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you listen to our show. We really appreciate that. It's going to help our little podcast grow and find more cool people like you. All right, Keenan, are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I think I am, Lester.
Folks, until next time,
the power of bro science compels you.
I don't know if it like nowadays would it be like bruh science?
Bruh.
It's just getting shorter and shorter, right?
Right.
It's either like it's like on opposite ends of the spectrum. It's either getting shorter or ridiculously, it's like Broseph Stalin or
Bros.
Yeah.
Right. That's the power of broology, yo.
Yeah. So yeah, that was one. That was like, if you want to maintain muscle, 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Yeah. And so that's why protein shakes.
Well, how do you know? How do you know that, bro?
I just it says it on the protein tub.
I do whatever the protein tub tells me to do, bro.
Actually, bro, I think this was invented by the protein company.
No, I heard Neil deGrasse Bryson say it, man.
You know why toast always lands butter side down, bro?
No, why, bro?
Because life is hard.
All right.
Is Matthew McConaughey a bro?
Oh, definitely.